And over here in Mount Carmel Cemetery, we are coming up to the gravesite of one Dean Charles O'Banion, born July 8th of 1892 and dying on November 10th of 1924. Dean is located in Section L of the cemetery. O'Banion was born in the small town of Mayora, Illinois. After his mother's death in 1901, he moved to the growing city of Chicago with his father and brother. The O'Banion men settled in the Northside Irish conclave known as Kilgubbin. The area went by another nickname known as Little Hell as well. As a young man, O'Banion sang in a church choir at Chicago's Holy Name Cathedral. However, music and religion didn't really have any effect on his interest. Instead, the street life in the Kilgubbin section on the north side caught his attention. An early nickname O'Banion was known by was the name Gimpy. This insulting nickname traces its roots back to O'Banion's childhood when he lost part of his left leg in a streetcar accident. Early in life, O'Banion and his motley crew of friends, which included Earl Hymie Weiss, Vincent the Shamer Drury, and George Bugs Moran, joined the Market Street Gang. This gang specialized in theft and robbery for the Chicago's black market. The group eventually became sluggers, which were thugs hired by the newspaper owners who the thugs worked for to beat newsstand owners who did not sell the proper newspapers. The Market Street Gang, who O'Banion and his buddies were affiliated with, offered their services to the Chicago Tribune, but eventually switched sides to the Chicago Examiner due to the more lucrative offer from newspaper boss Moses Annenberg. Through Annenberg, the gang met safecracker Charles the Ox Reiser, who was more than delighted to teach the gang the finer points on blowing up safes filled with cash. In 1909, O'Banion was arrested for safecracking and then assault. These were the only two times O'Banion would spend any amount of time in a correctional institution. Aside from blowing up safes and working as a slugger for the newspapers, O'Banion did have a legitimate job. He worked for a time in McGovern's Liberty Inn, where each night he would bring the patrons to tears with his Irish tenor voice, singing beautiful Irish ballads. There was a catch, however. While O'Banion was serenading the crowd with his charm and voice, his buddies were pickpocketing unsuspecting victims in the courtroom. Also worth mentioning, O'Banion would spike his patrons' drinks. This little scheme, known as Slipping Mickey Finn, would render his victims highly intoxicated. After the patrons were drugged and it was time to leave, O'Banion and his buddies would rob the unsuspecting victims as they were stumbling along the sidewalk. In 1920, with the era of Prohibition on the horizon, O'Banion started a very lucrative bootlegging operation. He made arrangements for beer suppliers in Canada to start shipments immediately. He also developed contacts with liquor distributors. The O'Banion mob ruled the domain on Chicago's north side. The area was situated between the northern part of the Chicago River, extending to Lake Michigan on the east, the central part of the river coming in off from the lake, extending all the way to the city of Evanston, Illinois. Along with power comes followers or hangarounds. Some of these men included Samuel Nils Morton, Louis Three-Gun Altieri, and Handsome Dan McCarthy. At the height of O'Banion's power, he was allegedly raking in about $1 million a year on booze alone. During one famous outing of mischievous behavior, O'Banion and his cronies stole over $1,000 worth of Canadian whiskey from the railroad yards located on the city's west side. In another infamous robbery, O'Banion and his buddies raided the Sibley Distillery and walked away with over 1,750 barrels of bonded whiskey. Aside from running a profitable empire, O'Banion falls in love with the lovely, beautiful, and charming Viola Kniff. They eventually marry on February 5th of 1921. Soon after getting married, O'Banion buys an interest in William Schofield's flower shop. This business venture and O'Banion's love of flowers go hand in hand. Not to mention, O'Banion was quite accomplished at creating floral arrangements. Schofield's flower shop became the florist of choice for all gangland funerals in Chicago. Also worth mentioning, the flower shop happened to be located directly across the street from Holy Name Cathedral. This is a place where O'Banion and Weiss attended Mass. The rooms above Schofield's were used as a headquarters for the Northside Gang. In 1920, Southside Gang chieftain Johnny Torrio and his second-in-command Al Capone met with all the Chicago gangs to work out a system of territories each gang could carve out for theirself. It was crucial to all the gang leaders that they avoid bloody and costly turf battles. In addition to this, the gang leaders were able to pool their political power and their soldiers in the streets. O'Banion accepted the agreement and was given control of the north side, which included the affluent Gold Coast area.